I'd like to film the intro as to what this video and possible video series will be. So I want to make sure that we have an online resource that walks people through this operating system fully. Now, this being a Mercedes, more recent one, having the Mercedes MBUX 3.0, this car is going to have the exact same operating system as C-Class, a GLC. Eventually the GLEs will be the exact same, but right now it's mostly the same. They're on MBUX 2.0 as of January 2025. And 2.0 looks basically like 3.0, just with a different icon shape. It's still this kind of left to right philosophy that extends to the radio as well, just sliding left and right to see and do the things you want to do. So it's pretty universal. You can get into an S-Class or a CLA, be greeted with the same operating system, besides, of course, a few design quirks, but mostly the same layout. I hope this helps anyone who has gotten one of these cars and they don't have they didn't get an overview, or they didn't retain the overview, or they just want to buff up their knowledge or make an informed choice before they purchase, see what life is like with the car. So this will be crude. The camera will be a little shaky. This is literally filmed on my iPhone. I'm just happy I got the Pro version. But please bear with me for any video quality inconsistencies. I'm just a dude who works at Benz, trying to help you guys out. I hope you enjoy the video and the videos to come. And if they don't come, then message me. See what I'm up to. Otherwise, please stay tuned. Hello, my name is Tony Cintron. I work for Mercedes, and I have the best job in the industry because I just get to talk about cars for a living, basically. Now, I usually walk through new customers on the car's features, and we get a lot of requests for an online video walkthrough. So here it is. This will be a video walkthrough of the Mercedes-Benz operating systems. This one is focusing on MBUX 3.0, NTG 7.5. It's responsive, it's quick, and this one is 5G oriented as well. And cool feature, this has a feature called Just Talk. This little red dot up here, that is basically going to be the car letting you know that it's listening. And if you say anything that's actionable, change the temperature to 75 degrees.
I'm setting the temperature to 75 degrees.
It will do it. And it gives you this little red graphic because we are in a GLC 63S. This car is a lot of fun, and I chose this one specifically because it has a lot of feature density. So we have a lot of the options filled in. We don't use blank buttons anymore in the industry, but there would be no blank buttons in this car. Now, we're going to start from the top, basics, and we're going to go in a bit of a left to right, just to make sure that we cover all of our bases for people who are just getting these cars without getting demos. So, first thing, we are on the exact home page. And if you slide left and right for this car, you'll see all of your main options. The most frequently used ones will be up front, and then we'll get more niche as you go on. This is view 1 out of 2 for this car. Second view, if you hold home, you can then choose 0 layer, which a lot of people prefer. 0 layer basically condenses everything. So you'll see your navigation in the background, and if you hit home, you will see your main screen options, your apps, as some people like to say. They aren't really apps, but your phone, radio, media, comfort, charging settings, vehicle settings, and then you'll see any downloads you might get. That's because this car supports downloads. You don't see it right now, but there is eventually a Mercedes store that loads once you have your Mercedes Me profile activated. It might load during this demo, so we'll cover it later. Also, a note, you'll sometimes see me interact without touching the screen, and that's because I'm using this right here. This OK pad controls everything on your screen, so it's an auxiliary just in case you don't want to get fingerprints on your screen. You also have the same formulation over on the passenger side, except this one controls everything on your driver instrument cluster. Some call it driver display. It used to be analog gauges. Now the whole industry is moving to these digital driver displays because they are just so customizable. You have different displays that you can choose. And the fun thing is each display does a little something different, whether it's a full screen map, what your car's sensors are seeing, or in dedicated off-road mode. We'll come back to that later. For now, start with the basics. First main basic thing, of course, will be connecting your phone. A lot of people do have trouble with this, believe it or not. And fun thing, all of our cars, if you see a little 5G symbol up there, they are the most recent version of Bluetooth, which means you can have up to 3 devices connected at once. Still pretty simple process here. You'll select connect device, you go to the device that you want to connect, make sure you're on your Bluetooth settings page, and then you'll choose the MBUX device, or your device that you're trying to connect will appear here. You touch that. Don't do both, of course. You choose one, it will walk you through the connection process, usually verifying a 6-digit code, and you'll be in. And one thing I do love about this new operating system for our cars is that it supports wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Of course, it's been around for a while. Even in wireless form, we're kind of laggards on it. We're the oldest car company in the world, after all. But now, most of our lineup has true wireless CarPlay. I believe a couple of Sprinter vans, you won't be able to get it in, but everything else has it. Phone connection, nothing truly mystifying here. Just make sure you know that for Apple CarPlay in particular, if you connect wireless CarPlay, the lovely Hey Mercedes won't be able to call people because CarPlay takes over everything. So, pretty simple there. This symbol that you see down here is your device manager. Once you have a device connected, you can then choose to delete CarPlay or temporarily disable it to go back to standard Bluetooth connection. That's, of course, pretty easy. There's a separate video I made for that one, and I'll link it to the description as well. Now, side note, this morning here, this has been a pain point for a lot of customers. All of our cars starting in 2024 have an automatic shutdown feature. If you are idling in the car, you will see these after about 10 minutes, and you have an additional 10 minutes to shut down the car unless you tap that banner. I just missed it because I was talking about it, so the car will shut down on us, but I'll just turn it back on, no big deal. Also, if you open your door by any chance, that shutdown happens more quickly. Also moving into place now. One fun thing about this is if you have a Mercedes Me Connect profile, it's going to remember your settings from previous cars you might have been in, and because I'm me, I'm in and out of these cars all day. Now, nothing truly mystifying in the phone settings over there. If you go over to media though, you just want to make sure that you are set for Bluetooth so that whatever you play on your phone will come out of here. The settings icon down here will let you, of course, choose your sound options. I tell people if you do nothing else, make sure you do 3D surround sound. But this personal sound profile is a fun new thing. Basically, it's a questionnaire. You choose your preferred perception of these sounds. And once you dial in your preferences on how these things sound, you'll have an entirely bespoke sound system, basically. Of course, we're gonna do more bass. Right now it has me at intensive, but I do like the bass. And then, if you have Burmeister, of course, this is how you have this option. You have the ability to increase these two effects, and they increase the depth of feel for this. And you can choose your bass at the end. So, yeah, you know, bass head. So it's a fun little thing you can do. You probably didn't hear a word I said while I was doing this, but it's a fun little thing you can do if you want to get the absolute most out of your sound system. But you can also get into the weeds with the equalizer, adjusting your bass, midtones, and treble in a way that, well, really, it's a lot of customization that you have here. You also can choose which set of seats you prefer to emphasize the sound quality for. basically if it's about you or if it's about the people in the back. And you also have balance and fader adjustment. Every car has this, but not every car has the sound profiles or the sound focus. And of course, you can choose different devices here. I think you actually have different equalizer settings for your radio and your media, but you definitely have different equalizer settings across profiles. Remember, you can have up to 7 profiles. We'll get to that part later. For now, that's your media. Radio, gotta try not to get blasted out here. Radio is a little different for this year. Weird points. A lot of people don't like horizontally scrolling through the radio stations, but this is how we did it for this time. You can use your voice, of course. You could always say, tune the Frank Sinatra radio. You know it's listening, so there it is. And radio here, like I said, scrolling, it's not everyone's favorite. If you hit this little tab here, this will be where you can actually more precisely search for stations. The car, because it is now hooked to a light AI system, will basically try and figure out what you like, and it will recommend more of that to you. So we've been on lots of news channels here, and so it's recommending even more news channels. Go figure. That's under For You. Under music, you can choose different genres: pop, country, Latino, family, 50s, 60s. And cool thing here, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but SiriusXM has acquired Pandora. So if you can't find a station that you like, you can go up here and let's say Post Malone. If you can't find a dedicated SiriusXM station for it, you can launch a Pandora station. The one drawback about these Pandora stations, though, is that they are a little hard to get out of. I don't expect the average person to really know this, and they're just buying a Mercedes. But if you go back here, it's kind of hard to get back.
Congratulations on the... How may I help?
Kind of hard to get back to where the other regular radio stations were. What you have to do, you just have to choose any station. It brings you back to your full station list. And it's not the best design solution for this, but it's up to Pandora and it's up to SiriusXM on how to implement this, really. We work with them and how they want this implemented. Now, these stations here, very simple if you do want to save some favorites. Do you see the star right there next to channel 11? You just hit that, it saves in your favorites, but I don't know if you noticed, it went down here, not up here. Let's try it again with Pitbull. We're gonna save this down here. This is a new favorites menu, and this is only for your SiriusXM stations. So in previous model years, all the way up to 2004 even, or 2024, I should say. In previous model years, it would save SiriusXM stations with the AM and FM station favorites. But now, it's in its own little list down here. Favorites is devoted to AM and FM stations. If we go and we save some stations, let's do WUSF, because we're here. So it saves these here. And there's no real convenient way to get to these SiriusXM favorites. Not without first going to SiriusXM and then hitting this again. It's cumbersome. It's not the best solution at all. And so I really hope that they fix this in future versions of the software. Maybe even fixing it for existing customers with a OTA update. It's entirely up to Mercedes to fix that, though. We'll see. For now, you have SiriusXM, FM, AM, pretty simple. You slide until you find something you like. And the FM and AM stations, you have the extra perk of hitting this and seeing a vertical readout, which a lot of people I hear prefer. I've been getting a lot of feedback on this, and they say this vertical layout is easier to use, especially while you're driving. But still, set your favorites and use your voice control. That's like the best thing you can do in these modern cars. It's not for everybody. People have accents, people have various degrees of technological familiarity. So if this solution doesn't work for you, there will always be another one out there. Moving on from the radio, Navigation has always been a sore spot for Mercedes users. Whenever you want to go somewhere, it's a little cumbersome, but since we've introduced MBUX, it's really been a night and day difference. If you want to go somewhere, super simple. All you have to do is say, "Hey Mercedes, take me to Costco."
I have found multiple results. Where shall we go?
Number 4.
I'm calculating the route for you now. Please proceed to the highlighted route.
Navigation really is one of the strongest points in our new vehicle lineup. It's all thanks to MBUX and this voice control.
I have found multiple.
They call it
I have
Helga,
found
pretty
multiple-
easy to use.
I'm listening.
And one of the downsides is that it can be too responsive for its own good. This Talk Now feature with the little red dot listening, that can be turned off. It probably should have turned it off for this demo. But once you get past the newness, it is very easy to use and live with day-to-day wise. Now, if you want to do everything manually in here, you still can. This little flag with the X, that is of course signifying cancel navigation. If you go to where to, you can just type in anything and it will find
Can you tell
something.
me your destination? Sorry. What is your How can I help?
Car shut off on us. But yeah, you can just type in anything and it will pull up something. Let's say if we want to go to Get Set Go FL, I don't know how I got that from that, but you can go. Cool thing is it's hooked up to Google, so it gives you unprecedented access to, it gives you so it gives you a lot more detail than you would have otherwise. You don't even need Android Auto or Apple CarPlay to get the most out of this anymore, because Google is going to be right there with your traffic information, and it gives you reviews, business hours, and little photos as well. So I have no idea what this business is, but I hope that Get Set Go Florida does well here. Hope you guys are doing awesome out in Riverview. Also, little touch, they tell you the weather for your destination. This is more useful for longer trips, more distant destinations, of course, but this is a little perk for this Google implementation right here. Of course, if you hit let's go,
The route includes toll roads. Please proceed to the highlighted route.
lovely Helga will talk to us the entire way. No, you cannot change the voice. It comes up so much. Yeah, you have this one voice that we worked really hard on. So it's going to take you the whole way, and if you hit this tab right here, this is where you can add different destinations. You can also go to previous destinations, hit a gas station along the way, see alternative routes if there are any. Florida, a little limited. We don't have that many back roads. All that water, go figure. But you can choose different routes, and a fun little feature, you can hit share journey. So if you have a phone connected, you'll just choose the contact that you want to send it to, and you'll be able to share this journey with whoever you want to share it with. Fun little feature. I don't think anyone really thought about that, but here we are. Also, settings here, you have little individual things you can do to make your navigation a little more effective. You have avoid options to avoid highways, toll roads, off-road areas, such. You have view options, so you can toggle on and off a satellite view as well. You can turn on and off little widgets such as the traffic, the incidents, the weather, accidents, and a fun feature, which I don't know if we'll be able to get it to show up today. We have augmented reality navigation. I'll film it and fill it in later. But basically, the augmented reality navigation will use a camera that's actually near your rear view mirror. It's in this housing right here. And this camera is going to show you exactly where to make your turns. It's a pretty cool feature. If you've ever missed an exit before and you have this, it will show you exactly which exit to take. And you can turn it on and off from this menu. You can turn on the street names, the house numbers, the whole video concept as well. You can just turn on and off individually. And you can also manage how much or how little this voice control talks to you, which I think is a really nice touch. So of course, flag with the X cancels navigation. And if you go to where to again, watch out for the voice control. You'll see your previous destinations right there. And hitting home, if the voice control comes up, that's a quick way to get rid of it. You can also hang up on the voice control right here. Pretty easy. And this little button, if you don't want to say anything, you can just hit this.
Pardon, would you
Open the sunshade.
opening the roller sun blinds now? You're right, it's too dark out there.
Totally messes with the video quality too, so. Close the sunshade.
I'm closing the roller sun blinds.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sometimes this voice control can be snarky. It's a nice touch. Gives it a little more character, I feel. But the more you talk to it, the more you get out of it. It's really choose your own adventure kind of voice control. I'm here for it. So these little tabs here, again, your most used options. And as we go on, we'll see the items that we use less and less. Media, music from your phone, super simple. Apps, this will be a couple of things. You have some built-in games from Mercedes that you can use to kind of pass time. You have a built-in Sudoku bot, so you can choose your levels. I have no idea how to actually play Sudoku, so I don't really think I'll be using this one much. What, do you want me to hit a 1? I don't know. Okay, I failed. But that is an option here. You have a built-in weather app, which is kind of cool. It's an old school feature, but if you have several different places that you need to visit regularly, let's say you have family in one area, you might drive to them or another, you can actually add different locations and you can save them. It's taking the weather app a little bit to load here today, so we're gonna come back to it. Actually, yeah, here we go. Erie, Pennsylvania. And I guess you're having a bad day today. That's okay. No one is thinking about Erie, Pennsylvania right now. Here we go. Oh, 21 degrees. That's nuts. Jeez, God bless you guys up there. As you can see, lovely P Park. We are having the coldest extreme for our winter right now. Normally it's about 70, 65 degrees for our winters. Right now in our cold snap, it's a bone chilling 55 degrees outside. I think that's a weather brag. We might delete that from the video actually. Anyway, you have a couple of games here. You also, under apps, have a Mercedes Me window. This will basically let you see your Mercedes services, whatever you have available. Some of these, it will let you know when they end, and other ones, you'll actually have to activate manually before they can be turned on. Of course, for this, you need an active Mercedes Me Connect subscription, or Mercedes-Benz app subscription, whatever they want to call it now. Mercedes Me ID still hasn't been rebranded yet, so you'll see your username, your email, which we could probably delete kabosh later. This is a work account, of course, so nothing new or crazy there. But this is where you can see your Mercedes Connect status. Now, under store, it will load your Mercedes Connect account, and this is where you can actually purchase digital extras. And the purchasing process through the car, I've done it a couple of times. It works pretty well. Let's say you want the optional dash cam, and you hit select the option. You can go there, and this is where it will take your money, I guess. You can also go into the product information, but yeah, they will let you actually process your payment from your car. This is a pretty big step up as far as automotive infotainment goes. Some people might not find it too impressive, but if you remember the days where cars only had an LCD screen that told you the time with a cassette deck, maybe a CD player, then this is pretty incredible. Now we're gonna go back here because this is not a car that I want to spend $200 on right now. But you get the point. Your store is here, and one thing that we're seeing with our absolute newest cars, the E-Class, S-Class, is that you have an expanded app library. You can actually download different apps, third-party apps, I should say, to this infotainment system, kind of like you would a tablet, and I'll cover that in a later video. Moving on, we have the weird section. This is what I call it. These are the things you will likely never use. So, comfort, routines, charge. Comfort, first and foremost. If you see these lights here, you can make them any color that you like. It's a little hard to see in the daytime, so I'll show you over here. Under comfort, you have two options: seating and ambient lighting. Ambient light, you can just kind of drag this and it changes your light colors. Again, hard to see in the daytime. See if I can show you over here. There we go. Camera picks it up pretty well, thankfully. So you can choose different light colors. It will adjust as you choose. And then you also have a dedicated multicolor page with different effects as well. The main effect is that they will change colors just kind of gradually as you are driving around. So you can have it on any of these color schemes and the colors shift within the scheme. Pretty easy. And you have new schemes for the MBUX 2.0 and 3.0 cars that you don't have in the MBUX 1.0. Little different new colors such as Miami Rose, Malibu Sunset. It's all kind of fun. Our oldest customers do not care at all. Go figure. But for the youth, this is fun. Don't say they didn't do anything for the millennials, because this is for you guys. Now, fun feature, under effects, you have your warnings. Basically, it'll be linked to your blind spot. If there's a cyclist going by, it will flash the lights red and blue. You have climate adjustment. Very simple. When you adjust your temperature higher or lower, you'll see the lights in your vents turn red or blue. Super simple, super fun. And then you also have track pace. Basically, when you're about to do a burnout, you're gonna see these lights flashing as well. Just adds to the drama of the car accelerating. 600 horsepower. So, I mean, what more drama could you need? Well, they have that for you there. You can control the brightness either individually for different parts of the car, or if you link the zones, you could do all at once. And you can use your voice control as well. So you could say, "Hey Mercedes." "Hey Mercedes."
Yes?
"Turn the ambient lighting off."
Good. I'm deactivating the ambient light.
"Hey Mercedes."
How may I help you?
"Turn the ambient lighting to 20. Okay, I guess it doesn't know everything. "Hey Mercedes."
I'm listening.
"Turn the ambient lighting on."
Right. I'll turn on the ambient light.
You can also use your voice control to adjust the color as well. "Hey Mercedes."
Yes, the
Change
MBUX
ambient lighting
3.0
to-
system allows you to use...
"Hey Mercedes."
Yes?
Change ambient lighting to blue.
Blue, if you like.
"Hey Mercedes." Change ambient lighting to red.
Okay, I'm changing the color.
Yeah, pretty easy. So you can use your voice for that as well. In fact, if you ever have any questions about what it can do, you can always say, "Hey Mercedes, what can you do?"
As your Mercedes in-car voice assistant, I can provide you with information and guidance on various topics related to your vehicle and beyond. Whether you need to know about your car's features, seek factual information on different subjects, or have questions about technology, I'm here to help. If there's something specific you'd like to know, please feel free to ask.
Hey, yeah, thank you. Now, other item in comfort, I guess we got a little sidetracked there, is seat. And you have two options here because this car doesn't have the massaging seats or the actual multi-contour seats. So your options are seat kinetics and seat heating options, basically your heated steering wheel. And third option, even though this one doesn't really count as part of your setup, you have your automatic seat positioning. Basically, if you put in your height or the height that you want, you can then hit start positioning and it will move your chair to suit your height. It's a pretty good system. Also, I think I need to use a tripod for this next time. Cut that out. So I want to get back to seat kinetics. This is useful. You've probably heard your salesperson say it's like massage. Well, this feature is meant to keep you alert and help to kind of reduce that long drive fatigue that you might experience after an hour or two of sitting in the same position. And it does so by moving your chair ever so slightly. Basically, your chair will move randomly, forwards and backwards, up and down, depending on how you have it set and what you have set to move. So you can have it move your backrest, your seat surface, and you can choose how long this feature is active for. You could have it 16 minutes or 96 minutes. 32 is in the middle, of course. And it's just going to be adjusting your chair ever so slightly. If you have it, try it out on a long trip. You can always use your voice control. Just say, "Hey Mercedes, turn on seat kinetics." Well, that was disappointing. Turn on seat kinetics. Cat's got her tongue. Turn on seat kinetics.
Okay, I'm switching on seat kinetics.
Thank you, bro. So yeah, nothing crazy there. Now, fun thing, this routines feature. So if you have a car with a lot of features, you can use this service to automate them basically. So you'll do so first by defining a condition and then defining an action. Super simple. This car has heated seats, so we're going to go for condition. Condition will be climate. The exterior is below, we're gonna do 37 degrees Fahrenheit. Take that EU. So we're gonna do, if the exterior is below 37 degrees, you can then add the action. You can go into comfort, seat heating, and steering wheel heating. So now, if we define this, if it's below 37 degrees, your seat heating will automatically come on. They want you to choose a picture and then give it a name. Feel the heat. And now that's something your car,
to 71 degrees.
and now that's something your car will do automatically. And if you go into my routines, you'll see it there. You can edit it, you can add new ones just at the touch of a button. This is really good for these cars with many features, heated, cooled seats, and all sorts of stuff. So that's what routines is. If you have a plug-in hybrid, you also have the ability to check on your battery's charging status, and you can choose different charging programs either for home or work. If you choose them, you can also define the parameters and when it's activated, and you can also edit how your car activates its climate control system. So you can choose different departure times if you want to have your car cool off ahead of time, but I feel like this feature is best done from the climate menu down here. You can go to pre-entry climate control, and you can actually turn on activation when unlocked. This way, when you unlock your car with your key, you will see your cooler. You'll see your AC come on. Sometimes if you have cooled seats, which this top of the line one doesn't, you will see your cooled seats come on as well when you hit unlock. And this also applies to winter. I don't know what heated seats, actual heat would come on. Because of where we are in the world, we don't really have winter, as you saw from my gloating earlier. Pretty easy there. So charge, battery management system, and then you have some weird stuff. This is an AMG specific vehicle, so you'll see some AMG specific options, but it's also an SUV, quote unquote SUV, so you have a dedicated off-road menu. This is where you can choose different off-road parameters. You can see your geo coordinates. You can see your tire pressure and temperature, your engine horsepower and torque as well. You can see there. And this little icon is fun. This is an off-road camera. Basically, this will show you whatever you see underneath your car. I don't know what that's going to be useful for, in all honesty, but you can see what's underneath your car. We're gonna back up now. Gotta love the new camera system with the new parking sensors. Super refined, but yeah. Off-road data, you'll see it in the off-road mode. Pretty easy, right? Next, you have a performance window. This is going to show you basically what your car is doing. You can see where the energy is going. Right now, the battery is being charged just through the extra capacity. God bless a P3 hybrid system. Those P2 hybrids don't do this, apparently. We're going to talk to some engineers about that one later on, but according to the product rep, the P2 hybrid cars we offer don't charge just when idling. But you can see where your energy is going. You can see your numbers for your torque and horsepower. You can also see where the power is going, which set of wheels are being driven. You can see your suspension data, angles of steering for front and rear, because a lot of our cars do have rear wheel steering. So I do love that. Makes them nimble. You can also see a horsepower torque breakdown, and you have a lap timer with the coolest intro sequence. If you want to make your coffee runs quick, you can do so here. I would actually love to have this watch too. Super easy there, right? Awesome. So that's under performance. Different AMG window. This is trackpace, and trackpace deserves its own video because this is a racetrack finder. Basically, you can initiate a drag race. Of course, they want you to do this only on closed circuits or non-public roads, racetracks. But you can do a track search. You can find different circuits, and then you can test your lap times with some of the best. This is kind of like a gamification of performance driving, and I really, really like it. This will even let you define your own track. If you go to my track, for instance, you can add more and you can explore with other users. So it's kind of like social media for performance cars. Isn't that fun? So this will let you auto detect your racetrack. Basically, you can hit start, and when you start driving, it will start measuring. But we don't need to mess with this system here. Still super fun, right? You can tell we go to this part of the menu so often. And then last thing, you have settings, device management for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a weird new thing. You're seeing this pop up in a lot of our cars. You remember Vivaldi from back when you had a 2G, 3G phone? Well, they're still around, and they are our built-in browser partner. So This operates like a third-party app. You have different links to different hotspot sites, so you can use this to buy stuff, watch stuff, do stuff, book stuff. It's basically a browser, kind of like Chrome, except more affordable for us. And this, of course, will only work if you have the active data plan, or if you have configured your smartphone to be a Wi-Fi source. You can use this as a Wi-Fi device. Now, let me actually expand on this. Up here, you can choose your connection type. You can see there is a data package available. It's about $25 a month and you have unlimited data, but you can go to select internet access and you can actually use your phone's hotspot as a device. Now, this isn't for everybody, but if you find your hotspot and you select it, then you can use this browser as a browser and you can watch videos and such. You can do this on your phone too, but if you want a bit of more control, if you want your passengers to see it too, if you want to make the screen bigger, this is what this is for, basically. Expand your browser, expand your viewership. Devices, this will be basically a connection page, a device management page, and let's go into settings, because settings is a lot. This car is a lot, but settings is a lot. And you have 6 different categories. Assistance for your creature features, or let's start over. You have 6 different categories. Assistance for your tech features. You have your driving, collision avoidance, cruise control settings, and parking settings. And the parking settings you actually have under maneuvering assist. If you hit that, this is where you can turn on and off your automatic braking, your cross traffic warnings, and a feature called driveway assist. You've probably not seen this one before, but basically it limits your speed at 5 miles an hour. If you don't like it, you just turn it off. Super simple. You also can choose the time of warning, so you can have early warnings or standard warnings. And you can also choose when your audio fades out, and you can even choose the volume, which we're gonna keep high. A lot of people will ask this, so under active distance distronic, you can also choose the speed limit option. Most people set that off though, because it is annoying subjectively. And you can also turn off the speed adjustment as well. Now, next tab, vehicle. That is going to be where you can choose little things like easy entry and exit, your vehicle protection, which is a great feature. Basically, your car can take pictures if someone bumps into you and drives off, and it saves them internally. You also can turn on and off little things like acoustic lock feedback and automatic door locking. And quick note, automatic door locking, this refers to when your car locks when you put it in drive and start driving. We're not like Tesla, BMW, Cadillac, or Hyundai in that if you walk away from the car, it will lock automatically. We don't do that. So, automatic door lock, that is only when you actually start driving. You have different dynamic select options as well, and you can choose the parameters for your individual mode.
How can I help?
That was annoying. You have different dynamic select options as well, and you can choose the different parameters for your individual mode. And I guess if you bring up drive mode, it takes you to drive mode. I didn't know that. Thanks, Mercedes. How annoying. And it's annoying only because you have drive mode as an option here, and you have it here. So I'd rather not say drive mode and be brought to drive mode. Just keeps happening. That's okay. I kept this on so I can tell you how to turn it off, but that's not here yet. So vehicle settings, let's do this. Light settings will be your dynamic lights, daytime running lights. You have an interesting option to have a farewell / welcome projection. If you're in your garage, you'll see your lights do this pattern across the garage door wall. It's really cool. You have interior and exterior lighting settings, a shortcut to your ambient lighting as well. Under system, you have time and date information. You have voice control management, language choice, keyboard choice. You also can toggle on and off your built-in internet, turn off Bluetooth, time and date settings, which they're automatic as well. You have system reset. But the one thing that brings people to system is the voice assistant. Really, you can turn on and off the Hey Mercedes feature like that, but if you go into settings, you can turn on and off who can access the voice control, so you can exclude the passenger, or you can turn off the just talk feature. So turn that on and off as you need to. We're going to turn it off for the rest of the video. Would have been handy earlier, but hey, that's what you do in this world, right? C'est la vie. So you can turn on and off the proactivity. You can turn on and off the online voice control, basically if you can use your contacts online, and you can turn on and off the little message that says hey, you forgot your phone. I don't know why you would, but you can. And this is 6 categories because there's a new tab. If you download any third-party apps, you can configure them from this built-in apps menu. I don't think it'll let you delete Vivaldi, but you can clear its cache. You can revoke permissions as well, and you can turn on and off notifications. We are making cars more phone-like, and this is one of the ways it's being manifested. And my favorite feature, believe it or not, is under info, because you have a built-in operator's manual. It will tell you how to do a lot of little things in the car, but my favorite feature is that there is an animation library. Now, we no longer display the videos in this window here, so they want you to open up your camera, scan the QR code, and watch the video on your device. This frees up onboard storage so we can make the system more efficient. But I understand it's probably not everyone's cup of tea. Just know you can always watch videos on YouTube like you're doing right now. Probably didn't need that explained, but here we are. Another cool thing, you can keyword search, so you can look up little different things here. You have a quick start guide, little tips and tricks, and the second favorite feature is the message category. If there are any warning messages that appear here, you will see it explained over here, just as long as it comes up as an actual warning. That's why you're not seeing this little check engine light appear over here. We're gonna cut here. This was a long video, and we're gonna do some instrumented buttons. So when I was speaking to you last, we had just gone over the whole ins and outs of the main screen. Of course, this is only view 1 of 2. You can also go on to 0 layer. And 0 layer, it really just condenses what you will see on this display. It's a little more concise, a little more smartphone-esque. The things you use up front, the things you might want to use in the back. And I like 0 layer because of its conciseness, its focus on navigation, and also there's a couple of touches which make it really easy to use. For instance, when you have your radio favorites set, you click on the radio widget, you'll see your favorites appear. It doesn't really work well for Sirius XM in these new cars. You'll still have to go channel to channel to get to wherever you want to go, but it makes it so that you don't have to leave the navigation screen to do so. You'll also see your phone connection, and this part will actually change based on what you use the most in the car. And of course, you could slide up to dismiss it as well. Remember to change back from 0 layer to standard view. Hold home for 2 seconds and then choose a different view. Easy enough. Now, let's talk about the few buttons that are actually in the car. So, from left to right, you have, in this car being a AMG car, you have AMG. Other versions, you'll see dynamic, This is going to be your parking system. If you have a plug-in hybrid or an EV, you'll see some sort of battery management shortcut right here. And then this tab. It's easy to call this settings because it takes you, of course, to all settings, but this is basically a quick access menu. If you wanted to turn on and off large features like your heads-up display or your steering assist or your lane change assist, you can toggle these on and off without diving into the full settings menu from here. Snow chains, incidentally, this turns off rear wheel steering if you have a car equipped with the rear steer and you want it off because it's making parallel parking difficult for you, or you want to do donuts, for instance. You can just go here, turn it on, and this turning on turns off the rear steer. Super easy. Now, over here, you actually have a fingerprint reader. You can use this to secure your driver profile if you wanted to make sure that no one else could access your profile. If you want to put the car on Turo or something like that, that's what this is for. Power, mute, and volume. Power, mute, and volume. Power, if you hit it, you can turn off your display or turn off the whole system. If you hold this button, though, so I was saying power, mute, volume. If you push this, you can turn off the display, but if you hold it, you can actually do a soft reset just in case you need to clear up any screen freezing that might happen. Volume is a slide function, mute here. And remember, this one, quick access mode, charging management. This one is your camera function, and I love this because you can actually use this to see all around your environment in quick, easy fashion. And you can get to your parking assistant from up here as well. And then last thing, AMG. This is going to be where you can choose your drive modes. More on that in a moment because this is really vehicle specific. So, on the AMG drive mode screen, drive mode selector screen anyway, you can actually mix different drive mode features. If you want more or less sound, if you want more or less performance in certain areas, you can combine different aspects here. And if you go into your individual mode, you can actually define and save your changes for future use, of course. Now, this is different only very slightly from this right here. This is just going to be a quick way to get to those drive modes, but you can't personalize outside of this screen. Now, talking about the AMG drive mode settings page, well, we can't talk about it fully without talking about settings select. This little part of your steering wheel, which is actually over here, you can use to set your favorite performance functions. And you can either push the image to change the function, and then these tabs enable and disable, or you can go to settings select up here, choose the top or the bottom, and then adjust it to fit your favorite preferences. This is profile specific, so once you have it locked in, a guest user can't mess with it. Only you can mess with it. Most people do it by accident, just so you know. All right. So I want to take us to our instrument cluster over here, and I want to take us to the Mercedes steering wheel as well. It's the same steering wheel as you'll see in any Mercedes from 2022 to present, basically. It's basically the same as the 2019 to 2021 steering wheel, but with more precise controls and a more touch haptic feedback focus as its input method. I can't even speak right now, but basically your inputs are all touch. You slide and touch, so multi-use here, and super easy. The one on the right controls the screen on the right. The one on the left controls the screen on the left. You have on this side your phone controls, answer and hang up on the right. Middle is volume, you can slide it up and down. And on the left, you have your voice control shortcut, star for not favorites anymore. We kept the star, but the function is now for missed calls. If you have a phone connected, you'll see your calls show up here. Little strange. Home still brings you to your home menu. OK controls the screen, and then back takes you out of any selections you might make. Super simple here. This is a little condensed on this side though. You have your cruise controls, on and off, set your speed, resume, cancel. When you are in cruise, you of course push to set your speed. You could slide up to go faster, or you can push this plus. Sliding up gives you 1 mile per hour increments of speed increasing or decreasing. If you push it, it's 5 miles an hour increments. And then home, back, and OK control this screen. If you hit home, you can slide left and right to choose different displays for your instrument cluster: navigation, classic, sport. And if you slide up, you can choose your different heads-up display types. Now, you can't really see the heads-up display with my camera. Again, this is a crude, just kind of general information video, but you can see your options here. Minimalist display, sport display, which they add your tachometer up there, your standard, which works with your navigation, and then settings lets you increase and decrease your brightness, and you can reposition your heads-up display, moving it up or down. No left or right movement, only up or down. But fun thing, when you do get your heads-up display dialed in, you can save it to your seat memory by hitting M and then 1. This will also save your seat settings, steering wheel settings, and your side mirror settings as well. Now, if you hit home, you of course can choose whichever display you like. Each one will have a little something different. Under service, this is where you can reset your tire pressure. You can also set this as your main screen. That's what set shortcut means. So you can start there every day. But most people start on this classic view. And little tip, we are like the only company in the entire US market that doesn't do steering wheel audio controls. And so when you are here, basically, when you're on your main classic display, the second from the bottom option, just above navigation, is used for audio. So if you have a radio station on, you can slide left or right, and you can change the station just by sliding. It also works for streamed media as well.
I cannot call up this station.
It also works for streamed media as well. And just like the voice control said, you can always use your voice control to go to different stations. All right, we're gonna go to another car now.